I hate to be the one to say I told you so, but and I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I want to put my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. What, Cookie? Thanks, guys. Thanks for clicking on the video. This is my review for Have and Have Nots, Season 5, Episode 10. Now listen. I told you also, but we're going to get to that. We're going to just hold it till the end. We'll hold it to the end. Just hold it to the end. Because I really did tell y'all so. But anyway, so there's a lot of little things that took place in this episode. It was a really good episode, but it was a lot that kind of like, it was little things. Okay, so let's just go by the characters. Hannah goes down to the jail to basically, she's going to turn Candace in. That's her version of saving Candace's life. Is like, I'm just going to turn her in. And that's that. I'll turn her in. They'll book her and she'll be in jail and war can't get to her. So in the midst of doing that, she goes down. There's a female police officer at the front desk. She says, who are you? She says, I'm Hannah, Hannah and all that. And she says, who's your, she said, I'm here to give information about my daughter. They asked her, well, who's your daughter? And she told her Candace Young. And she said, Candace Young? Okay. She said, just hold on. She rolls to the back. And as she rolls to the back, the officer she's looking for is not there, but Justin is there and the rookie. So she tells Justin, they were actually in a conversation about what had happened over at Wyatt's house. And Justin was just ridiculous and making himself look very, very guilty. Just going on it. Again, Tyler dragging things out. But he was just looking very guilty. Oh no, he's not my friend. And every time he would say, well, I didn't know he was your friend, and I'm so sorry, this, that, the other. He's not my friend. It's like, I said, girl, you sounding more like a cocksucker, honey, every moment. Every time you deny it, honey, you're sounding more and more sweet bottom, honey. Just chill the fuck out. It is what it is. Anyway, so she has him go. Justin ends up going up, talks to Hannah. Hannah's telling him, I really want you to come and pick her up, but I really don't want a scene made in front of my grandson, so can we do this in the morning? This, that, thing, the other. Justin's telling her, yeah. We all know he's lying, but yeah. And in the midst of the conversation, I'm sitting there looking at Justin. Justin is literally trying to sway Hannah's conversation into incriminating Candace. And Hannah's like, wait a minute. He's like, I didn't say that. I didn't, and then he ended up telling her what actually happened to Quincy and all. It was a mess. But he was really trying to railroad Candace through some type of slick admission from Hannah trying to save Jeffrey. And it was so evident. Hannah doesn't know that's why he's doing it, but she knew that conversation didn't sound right. Like, don't put words in my mouth and all of that. So it was what it was. He assured her, we won't come until you call us. His ass is lying. I promise you, he's lying. But anyway, okay, so let's go to Candace. Candace is over at the hotel with Charles. And long story short, it was, like I said, taking candy from a baby. She basically convinces him that, she's just this innocent chick who's in school and, and they done drank and she's just real attracted to him and she wants to fuck him. And she convinces him that, no, this is not going to come back on you because I don't want it to come back on me because I'm a law student and I don't want to, I don't want this to tarnish my reputation as well, where people think that I ended up being successful in the long run because I screwed you. He fell for it. And let me say this, I got to backtrack. So I'm getting ready to backpedal and pussy pop. And I don't do this very often. I'm going to backpedal and pussy pop. So y'all write it down on today. Charles, I said that he was Latino or either some type of Hispanic origin. I looked at Charles real good. Charles doesn't look Hispanic to me at all. Charles actually looks mulatto to me. So I just want to take that back because he just, I mean, all the beautiful man. He's still a beautiful man, but I just wanted to put that out there before the fact checkers come after me, honey. But I don't believe that he's Hispanic in origin at all at this point. He just literally looks like a mixture of white and black. When I looked at his hair and everything, beautiful man though. Absolutely, he's just cute as he can be. Cute as he can be. Candace basically ends up taking advantage of him, and they end up going over in her room and they ready to get down. And it started off, with that, he talked about his kids and he talked about the dead wife and the this, that thing and the other and all of this. And honey, first it was like Candace making moves on him. Next thing we know, honey, he done flipped her over, baby, and jammed it up in her sideways. I said, well, wait a minute, honey. He flipped her over and then flipped her on her stomach. I said, oh, you're not all that time, because he swore he only had like his wife in 15 years. He's like, you knew what you was doing, honey. And talking about we were so conservative and all of this. Y'all weren't too conservative, honey. How conservative are you working her on her stomach, honey? Sliding it in her sideways. Anyway, go on with yourself, honey. Go on, little cute boy. Laid Candace out. Candace then worked it on him, honey, and turned around and got him. And, as the program goes on, we see them again. We see them in the bed. They're basking in the glory of what they had just done. He's giving, child, you really done worked my nerves. And she's giving, yeah, I always do, And then the conversation switched. He switched up on her and start, really giving it to her like, okay, so really how many guys have you been with? This, that, thing, and the other. Because her claws were showing, basically, I guess, is the way she had sex and the way she fucked him sideways, I guess, said to him that you ain't innocent, bitch. This ain't your first time at the rodeo. And he's asked her about how many guys that she slept with, this, that, thing, and the other. And I was like, I don't like the way this conversation is going. And he continued on talking. And then he kept, like, going at her, saying, like, Candace, I can't have anybody to find out about this, that, thing, and the other. And then it just, for me, if I was in her shoes, and you can see she played the part perfectly. Where I think at that point with Candace, it could have went either way. I believe that if Charles would have played his cards right, Candace would have fallen into the Candace that she was with Oscar originally, with Charles, and fallen for Charles. But Charles started talking to her like, there's more to you than me. See, and he basically was talking down to her. After like you've laid here and fucked her, and then you're talking to her like she ain't shit. When, excuse me, buddy, but you ain't shit either, because you was just not being shit with your naughty parts engorged and tingly right along with her. And she took offense and basically let him know he got the bitch at the end of it. And she said, yeah, I wouldn't want anybody to know either. Got the little hooker on tape. She got everything right on tape, honey. And he's standing up there looking stupid. I said, uh-huh. And he's like, I'm going to leave. She's like, yes, you are. So he played himself. But I believe that Candace would have fallen for Charles had he played his cards right. But I think he overtalked himself and got a little too motherfucking fancy and was down talking her. And that shit just didn't work. And he ended up catching the bitch. Oh well, another one bites the dust, honey. So let's talk about Jim and Oscar. Oscar and Jim get a conversation going. Oscar had pulled up all this information and got all this shit together, everything about Wyatt, where Wyatt lives, how much he paid for the apartment. Finds out that Wyatt paid, like, literally, his head was bumped. He literally paid like an enormous amount of money for a property that wasn't worth a third of what he paid, and then come to find out that the property actually belonged to Jim and their company and all of that years ago. He got robbed. So Oscar basically told Jim, child, your son's an idiot, and it won't be hard to actually set up some type of dragnet to get him and get his money all off of him. So Jim's like, okay, just do it. Yeah, do it. And that's that. He still has it out. Later on, he made a phone call to somebody else, and he was going to George. He's talking to this George person, and he's, coming after, Candace. He wants to get Candace. Yeah, a mess. He wants to get her bad. Yeah, he wants to jam her up, and that's that George. George the DA. He wants to jam her up, and he's willing to do what he needs to do to really tie her up and jam her up. Let's go talk about Hannah again. Hannah and Catherine this time. Hannah pulls up outside of Catherine's house after she's, I think she's kind of going through like, did I do the right thing? Did I not do the right thing? I'm not really sure, or whatever. But she knows she needs to go talk to Catherine. Jim seen her sitting outside in the car. He didn't know it was. He said, "What the hell is Hannah doing with Amanda's car?" And she explained to her, I gave her the car, this, that, and the other. They had a little quick argument. Catherine was like, "Shut the fuck up, motherfucker. I gave her the car. End of story, bastard." So she ends up going out and she's talking to Hannah, and Hannah's talking in circles, pretty much leaving things out, but telling her, basically, I need a favor from you. And she says, "What is it?" She says, "I need a criminal lawyer for my children." And she says, "Benny and 9. And she's like, "Her name is Candace, and she is my daughter." And she let her know, "You're not going to disrespect my daughter, you bitch. And I've done very many things for you. I've bent over backwards 2-3 times and done backflips for you, bitch. And you're going to do this for me. You're going to get me criminal lawyer for my daughter and my son. Okay? Capiche? Good." So she's like, all right, cool, no problem. So that was that. They had that little thing go on. Okay, let's talk about the two things that are very, very interesting here. Let's talk about Jeffrey and my goddamn Melissa. So over at the house, once Hannah was at the police station and she actually had talked to Justin. Justin called Jeffrey, couldn't get him on the phone, so he texted him everything, which is stupid. I don't know why y'all are texting all this shit. Like, you can't pull it, but he texts him everything. Jeffrey's standing in the hallway looking at the text. Veronica's coming up the steps, and she says, "I know good and well you ain't had your ass out here standing in this hallway all this time. Get your ass in that room with your wife, boy." So he goes in there with Melissa. Him and Melissa end up having a little exchange back and forth. They supposed to be in there, supposed to be getting down, honey. They go into this little exchange. Jeffrey's telling Melissa he basically wants to just turn her stomach, turn her off, telling her, she tells him about how she overheard him and Justin and seeing their body language, and she asks, "Is he more than just a cop to you? Is he your lover?" And Jeffrey came on out and told her, "Yeah, he is. He's my lover." And let me just tell you what we just did, honey. He got to telling her about how hard Justin's chest is and how firm Justin's behind is, and how when they were making love, honey, Justin was sweating all over him and it was so good to him. And then he's like, "Oh, and it just made me feel so good." He's like, "Just like right now." And he had to lay up on the end of the bed with her. He grabbed her goddamn hand and puts her hand down and let her feel that child. Just talking about Justin and thinking about it, that made his meat hard as a brick, honey. I said, "Oh, stop." And he gonna tell her, he said, "You feel how hard that is? That's not for you. That's for him. That will never be for you." I said, "Oh, Jeffrey, you are mean, honey. Treating Melissa the way Wyatt treats you." Well, baby, in the midst of all that, in the door comes Veronica, baby. She busts in the room. I said, "This bitch is literally outside listening to the conversation." She gonna say, "No, go on. Finish telling your little filthy story about your little nothing cop that you're not going to see anymore. Go on and finish telling the story. Finish telling it. Tell us how you worked it out in this thing. You slay, bitch. Tell her. Go ahead, continue telling her, bitch." I said, "Oh, Veronica." And child, Melissa says, "Well, Mrs. Harrington, I just think that this is really Jeffrey, and if he likes him, he really should be with him. She said, I wasn't talking to you, bitch. And who told you to think? Did you hear that, Jeffrey? She thinks. That's ridiculous. She said, honey, do you see the wallpaper here and the carpet and those sheets? They're just like you, honey. They're bought and paid for. And I don't pay you to think. So you just sit there and you shut up, bitch. I said, oh, please, honey. And I'm waiting. I am waiting for that little young bitch to give Veronica what she's looking for, because she got it in her. And Veronica's pushing and pushing. That girl, you ain't paying the bills and shit. And then you talking mega shit. I'm really waiting on Melissa to fuck Veronica up. But whatever. So she's playing her part. You know, she's looking all dumb and shit. Her and her boy, they going back and forth. Veronica's just going. And then she said, see, I don't have time for all this. All this speaks to the little girl that's inside of you. And he told her, he said, yeah. And she said, and you know how, because she told her something about her drinking her liquor. And she said, yeah, well, that, you know, the little girl inside you brings out the bitch in me. And he said, she said something about the little girl and him. And he said, well, why don't you carve her out of me? She gonna say, is that reference to the paring knife? Is that it? You want another paring knife, Jeffrey? Did he tell you that, Melissa? That he tried to attack me with a knife? Did he tell you that? And he was like, you know what? Bobby Safeman. Baby, Veronica's eyes got so big, honey, and she leaned back up out that cup of juice, honey, and said, I'm not trying to do anything to harm you, son. Everything I'm doing is for your own good. I'm not trying to harm you. I said, oh, well, what the hell happened, honey? Now, David made reference to Bobby Safeman before. Jeffrey must have fucked Bobby Safeman's ass up, honey, because remember, Veronica had to get him out of whatever criminal charges was, and he was a minor. And it got her child, when he stabbed her, she didn't look like she looked when he mentioned Bobby Safeman. I said, what the fuck did Jeffrey do to Bobby Safeman, honey? And Jeffrey was sitting over there looking just as crazy. And you know, for me, when Jeffrey looks real crazy, oh, I just like it. Oh, I like it. Don't judge me. Okay? Y'all know I like Jeffrey and David. But when he be looking real crazy, y'all like it. He was over there looking nutty as a goddamn fruitcake. I said, oh my God. So, they just continued going on. And then Veronica was like, I want to go downstairs. Honey, she took her ass on out of there here. So, Jeffrey ends up going on. And he's talking to Melissa and tells Melissa, he came open to her about, he said, you know, she has me messed up more so than she has you messed up. You know, he said, I committed a murder. And she didn't believe him at first. And then he's like, no, really, I killed someone. And that's what she's holding over my head. And Melissa will say, well, you know what? As a matter of fact, he said, you don't believe me? She said, yeah, I believe you. Because see, with a mother like yours, I would believe you if you told me you were a serial killer and I'd understand it. Then she slickly tried to plot to have Jeffrey kill Veronica. She said, well, you know, she goes down there, gets drunk, and falls asleep on that couch at like 4 o'clock in the morning. This, that, thing. I said, bitch, you trying to convince him to off his mother, honey? He said, I'm not going to do anything to my mother, Melissa. She said, that's not what I was suggesting. I'm just saying, if you want to go to your boyfriend, go to your boyfriend. Just be back here about 4 o'clock. So she's trying to create an alliance with Jeffrey at this point. But the underlying thing that I was thinking about there, I said, honey, is Melissa going to try to kill Veronica? That would be fabulous. That would be fabulous. Hold on to that, y'all. That would be fucking fabulous. Honey, if Melissa tries to kill that motherfucking Veronica, they get a good showdown going on in there. Ooh, that would be good shit. Anyway, okay, here I go again, taking over as the writer. I'm sorry, y'all. Anyway, so they go through all of that, and that was that. And yeah, because she talked about the insurance money and everything. I said, oh, she is too much, honey. Oh, Miss Melissa. Anyway, honey. Yes, indeed. Okay, so you got all that going on. So we know, of course, Jeffrey's going to leave and go to see Justin. You know that. So anyhow, so let's go to the last little thing, which is what I told you all about. We haven't talked about David and Erica in all this time. Baby, when I tell you, we go over to the hotel, honey, and they up at the bed, baby. All we see is feet, baby, and David is giving Erica something. Do you hear me? Letting her box have it, honey. I said, no, you are not in there punishing her little box, David. Honey, she couldn't even pay attention. He was letting her have it. And that bitch's eyes got just as big, honey. And you see somebody from the back, say, who the hell is that? With the camera paying back, who was standing in the room, honey? What did I tell y'all, honey? I told y'all that there was some connection between War and Erica. And he done broke up into the room, honey, and stand there, because you know, child, locks don't keep War out. Locks are for honest people, honey. He done broke up in there and sitting up in there, standing in the room, honey. And she looking at him, honey, while David is on top of her, punishing her box, honey. He was letting her little cuckoo have it, honey. I said, you pumping so hard you don't see this fool standing behind you. And that's where it actually cut out at. This was a good episode. See how long I've talked, y'all. 21 minutes. It was a good episode. Can't wait till next week. I think it's the season finale is actually next week, so can't wait. I'll talk to y'all then. All right.